when it comes to copywriting and stuff, I think anyone who's doing copywriting at like an average level is kind of going to be replaced by AI. It's the people that are really like specialized and actually know how to do really good copy that aren't really being touched, but they're also being more highly valued. And then obviously there's like design elements, picture elements, like people are messing around with that, website development, that kind of stuff. But ultimately you still need someone to do a lot of the work so far. So I don't know. It just kind of shows that you kind of need to have some sort of like expertise or specialization to really still keep standing out, because AI is going to probably shift a lot of the general type tasks. So more thought needs to be given on the strategic side of things versus the actual doing and implementation side of things.
Hey guys, my name is Mong'are and welcome to another episode of the Freelancers Mic, where we have conversations with creatives. It's all about you getting the mic and sharing your experiences. If you enjoy it, hit follow so you don't miss the next episode. So on today's podcast, we have B, the founder of CJAM Marketing, a marketing agency broker that connects businesses with the right marketing partners. So B, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me on the show, and I'm doing well. Thanks.
Awesome. So I'd like to know if you were to go back in time and start again your business, what is it that you will do differently?
It's a good question. If I went back in time, because I've talked to over 725 different marketing agencies and partners, I probably would have started my email list a lot earlier. I started a little bit late. So right now I have about probably 200 agencies in my email list, but it's because I started that whole process too late. Capture people's emails, stay in contact with them is one of the most important aspects.
Okay. And people tend to think that email marketing is dead. What's your perspective on that?
I think it depends on what you mean by email marketing is dead. If you mean like outbound email marketing is dead, I wouldn't agree, because I know a lot of businesses still using it. Obviously, inboxes are filling up with a lot of spam, a lot of people using the same messaging, but it is still a lead channel for many different businesses. And if you're talking about like newsletters and keeping up to date with different customers and things like that, it's definitely not dead, right? Because customers want to follow the people they want to follow. So as long as your messaging is hitting your target market, I still think it's a very viable channel to be using to keep in touch with your customers.
Wow, awesome. Do you think freelancers should use email marketing to market their services and reach the right clients?
It depends. I mean, it does take a lot of work. And a big part of doing, I'm assuming what you're saying is like outbound email marketing. For almost every 100 people that you reach out to, you're probably getting a 1% response rate, and then to try to land someone on a call. So it's not an easy platform to do, and it requires money. That's the other aspect of it, right? Because you have to set up domains, you have to basically send out emails, probably about 20-ish per like account. And so you need multiple accounts, multiple domains, and automating it, and then also answering all those emails. So it's not like it's just something you can just turn on and hope to get customers for. I think if freelancers are trying to get customers, I think it's all about trying to build relationships. So trying to get on calls with business owners to build relationships. And then that way, if you do a good job for one of them, then you're starting to get referred to other people. And so focus on building relationships and focusing on doing a good job.
Awesome. There is this thing about having contracts, and I always advise every freelancer, every newcomer, every newbie that comes to me about having a contract. So do you think we should always have contracts, especially since we work remotely, and if anything happens, I don't think I can bring someone outside the country to charge him on the court of law. So do you think we should always have contracts in place?
I think you should always have contracts in place because one, it puts everyone on the same page, right? So you're not like, you could talk on a call and say, I'm going to do this for this amount and all that different kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, that's like what he said versus what you said. So you have to kind of look at, okay, if I have a contract in place and everyone's reading the same exact thing and nothing gets confused. So you can go back to the contract. Ultimately though, I don't know, depending on where you're living and where you're working and who you're working with, it's hard to defend a contract if you're in different countries. So I'd say the contract is more of an area to make sure that things are clear between what you're doing and how you're getting compensated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were having this discussion recently, and it was a heated debate on whether to have a contract or not, because after all, you can't bring someone from another country to have that argument.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not, I don't think it's about suing or doing anything. It's just to get everyone on the same page. And it also makes you look more professional versus all your other freelancers that don't do it.
Oh, okay. And what are some of the clauses that you feel like if you're a freelancer and you're working with a client or marketing agency, these are the clauses that you should pay attention to, just in case something happens in future?
I mean, the main clause is just making sure that you're not locked into something you can't get out of. There should be a way of getting out of a relationship that's not working. And so that would be probably the most biggest clause I'd be looking at. And then other clauses like who owns the information and those types of things are other things to look at. And then just like the details of the contract itself, what you're doing, how much of it you're doing, all that different kind of stuff, so that there's no confusion in what's being done.
Okay. Yeah, and since you've been partnering businesses with the right partners, are there some ways or strategies that you think if I'm looking to partner with a freelancer, let's say I'm doing graphic design and I don't do video editing and I want to have a team, what are some of the things that I should look into when looking for someone to partner with?
I think if you're partnering with someone, you're looking at making sure that you have the same values, looking at the skill set, making sure that you both like working the same amount, right? You want to make sure you have the same motivations as well. And if someone's actually trustworthy and you can work with them long term. So don't, maybe test on a few projects initially before you formulate a full partnership. But you want to make sure you can work together, right? That's the biggest aspect.
Are there any red flags that you've seen that people come across later on and maybe regret?
If we're talking about freelancers, it's a little bit different than talking about agencies, because with agencies, there's tons of red flags that I look for when working with them. For example, how long they've been around, how many people they have, how fast they're growing, and their background. When it comes to freelancers, it's a lot more hit and miss. And so with freelancers, at least you're seeing that they're responding well, they're professional, they have the backup of, if they're say a good copywriter, that the copywriting is actually good. So you kind of look at like more of the high level stuff, and then you test them. You test them on a couple projects and see if they can live up to it. The other aspect is to make sure that with freelancers, a lot of the times, some disappear and right, like they just look for a better contract or that better customer. But a lot of the times you want to look for people that are going to stick with you and are trustworthy. That's kind of the main things that I look in freelancers. Like, for example, my designer I've worked with for over 3 years now. We just built a very, very close relationship, and I don't ever expect him to leave. And if I ever need something done, he'll take care of it. And so when that kind of trust is built, long-term relationships are set. And that helps everyone.
Awesome. Awesome. And I know we have some misconceptions about marketing our services. Some say you should go to platforms. Some say you should work with agencies or you shouldn't. What are those misconceptions that you think are holding freelancers back when it comes to marketing their services?
Not sure how it relates to freelancers. I mean, at the end of the day, it depends on where, like the freelancers, where they want to work with, right? Like, do you want to work with an agency that's going to bring in customers and take care of systems and processes and that type of stuff? If you're working on platforms, then it's mostly going to be yourself, and you're going to be doing a lot of the work because the platform is just going to try to connect you with different types of businesses. And so it really comes down to how you want to run your freelancing business. And what model makes more sense to you.
And talking about SEO, I know that is can I talk to you about that?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, talking about SEO, I know it's also good when it comes to marketing our services. What are some of the things that I should look into when I'm trying to do SEO for my business? Should I use that same SEO on platforms like TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn? Does it apply, or it only applies to Google?
When you're talking SEO, you're typically just talking Google search. When you're talking about TikTok, Google Ads, Facebook, that's more of an amplification factor where you're trying to basically guide people back to your website. But on the SEO front, it's on Google. As a freelancer, it doesn't make sense to do SEO. SEO is not easy to do, and it also depends on where you are, right? So, I mean, if you're trying to target VA services in North America, you're going to have a very hard time because you're dealing against very big budgets when it comes to SEO and big websites. And so you just writing one blog a week is likely not going to do very, very much. Right. So the focus would be, if you're looking for short-term things, to basically start building connections, building relationships, doing that through LinkedIn, doing that through Facebook, doing that through other channels, and trying to get people on calls. And then as the business is kind of growing, then you start investing in SEO and start looking at it more long-term. SEO, like typically, even with my own all my connections, I spend almost $2,000 to $3,000 a month just on my own SEO. And I probably get the cheapest rates with the highest value, given how many people that I know, right? There's no easy way to do SEO cheaply. It requires a lot of work, a lot of copywriting, a lot of strategy, and a lot of work on the back end to make it work.
Okay, I'm asking this question because I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok and Instagram talking about how to optimize their videos to appear on the search bar on those specific platforms. So that is why I was wondering if it applies on those platforms as well.
Oh, that's different. You're basically doing, like, if you're talking about TikTok and how to rank high on TikTok, they can call that TikTok SEO. But that's not really like SEO. It's just, how do you rank higher? What is the algorithm looking at, right? So LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, they're all going to have different parts of the algorithm to try to rank. Ultimately, a lot of it is, how much engagement do you get in the initial, 3 to 5 seconds of your video? And are people liking it? Are they commenting? Are they sharing it? And the more you can do that, the more the algorithms can play in your favor, basically.
Oh, yeah. And with the current AI being in the market, has it gotten into the SEO part? Because I know when Google does the updates, I see all those people posting, my website is down, my website is not ranking anymore. Is it like there is AI being victimized for people that use it?
So I wouldn't say, I mean, AI is definitely changing the landscape. It's changing the SEO landscape. It's changing content. It's changing how you're doing stuff. But you can't, I mean, I know people that are doing AI content and then just posting it and getting some rankings initially, but long-term, I don't think that's the right strategy. But using AI and then making sure that there's a human editor in the mix, and you add different aspects to it, so that the article isn't just AI content generated, like you're adding your expertise into it, and it's actually of value to the customers that are seeing it, and not just for ranking purposes. I think long-term, you're going to do well. And so you have to think of different things of, like, how do you build authority and all that other aspects of SEO, so that the website's not just seen as, oh, it just only has AI content, but if it has AI content, then it has YouTube videos and it has social media, and it's all playing back into it, you start kind of seeing this ecosystem of, oh, these guys are actually experts in what they're doing.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know I have lots of questions for you because marketing is so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of video marketing, what would you recommend for someone that is trying to get into video marketing for his business?
What do you mean by video marketing?
For example, when I go to Facebook, I just post text. Now I want to get into doing more videos to market my business.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same as content and copywriting. Ultimately, you need to basically figure out what your customer wants, and then your messaging should be around that. And looking, like, if you're an expert in something and you can actually help customers with what they need, then you should be talking about that and figuring out their pain points, and then doing video content on it, and then distributing that video content across multiple platforms. So you just start doing like a video content strategy, which should also be in line with your content, like your actual written content strategy as well.
Wow. Okay. So this should be my last question. What is that one aha moment that you have had in your business in partnering business with agencies?
The aha moment probably is the fact that you need a lot of different partners to be able to match with the right businesses. Most businesses have a personality, and so do agencies. They all have their own personalities, and you have to be matching personalities to personalities at the end of the day. That's one of the big aha moments. So one agency could be really good for one customer, but they might not be good for another customer because their personalities don't match. And then one of the other big aha moments is that most businesses don't understand marketing. And so if you don't have someone internally that can understand the marketing agencies and the partners that you're working with, ultimately those relationships aren't going to work out because you don't truly understand the value that those agencies and marketing agencies are bringing, or you can't catch when people are not doing things properly. And you end up just with a terrible marketing partner for a year or two and your business goes nowhere and then you have to restart.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anything else that you'd like to share with me and my audience before we just call it a day?
No, not very much. I mean, if anyone wants to get in contact, LinkedIn is probably the best way to reach me at beta.jamshidi on LinkedIn. And then if they do go to my website, www.cjammarketing.com, at the bottom of the page, there's a resource section. And down there, you can find things that say like, hey, 10 questions that you need to be asking marketing agencies, or 5 questions you don't think about asking and the answers to look for, to kind of help people find the right partners moving forward. So that might be useful. And I also have a newsletter there that I share a lot of marketing insights and tips as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showing up, for sharing the insights that you have over the years. I'm sure the audience is going to benefit from these podcasts.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Freelancers Mike. And if you want to get in touch with B, you can find all the information about him on the description. If you want to listen to all other episodes of the Freelancers Mike, go to our website, writerinspire.com/podcasts, or you can go to other podcast streaming platforms and search for the Freelancers Mike. Thank you. Talk to you soon.